Listen to Night Talk with JOEROXX, Thursdays, 11 p.m. Eastern, only on Armed Radio, home of the big guns.
Hello, everybody. It's me. That's right, it's me, Mary Milhone. Catch up every week on my new segment called TBD with Mary. It's going to be on Night Talk with JOEROXX. And what does TBD, you may ask? Well, it means to be determined, and that's by me. So each week I'll be bringing you different and engaging topics. These will be weekly, exclusively on Night Talk with JOEROXX. So tune in 10 p.m. Eastern, and be sure to dial in to the TuneIn satellite and the Armed Radio Global Network. Peace out. Hey everybody, welcome to the To Be Determined segment with Mary ROXX on Armed Radio Global. Today I have Jerry Bradley. He's a 30-year veteran of the Air Force, and he is a published author. And I'm really, really happy to have you, Jerry. Welcome.
Thank you, Mary. I'm very happy and proud to be with you.
Thank you. So, Jerry has written stage plays called Pressing On, and it is about a man battling PTSD after combat. If I remember correctly, I read the whole thing. Am I right, Jerry?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's dealing with he's dealing with PTSD, and he's also dealing with a lot of physical injuries.
Right. And he ends up saving his son at the very end, correct?
Well, what happened with David is his dad came in and talked to him quite a bit and shared his experience being a Vietnam veteran, and really helped to turn David around in the way he was thinking. Mm-hmm. But it was a combination of people from his wife or from his the chaplain, from his father, all coming in and talking with David. The original title was Conversations with Tech Sergeant David Stevens, but we changed it to Pressing On because kind of the theme within the play is you've got to press on.
Right.
And David finally accepted that his life was never going to be the same, but he was going to be able to press on and get through this with the support system that he had.
Yeah, that was a really, really awesome script. And then you have two books. You have Camo Blues, and you also have 2 Steps Forward, 1 Step Back.
Yes, 2 Steps Forward, 1 Step Back, I just released last month. Mm-hmm. We put it out on Amazon as far as the electronic copies go. I've been doing paperback copies at sale at home. Quite frankly, because it's less expensive to do it that way. Mm-hmm. For the people to buy, and I'm trying to keep the cost as low to the public as possible. If people go to Amazon.com/author/Jerry Bradley, it'll come right up. If not, just go to Amazon.com and either search for Jerry Bradley or search for 2 Steps Forward, 1 Step Back. And it should come up. Yeah,
Jer, so a Facebook celebrity, well, an internet celebrity rather, by the name of Stephanie Mason Lembo, has been reading your poems each week. She fell in love with them. Stephanie is known because of her own suicide awareness post that she told her story about her husband committing suicide, Anthony Lembo, and her her post has had over 25 million views. But now she's reading your poems, correct?
Yes, it's been a real blessing. Stephanie is a wonderful person. She is, I don't want to say she's become the face of awareness of veteran suicide.
She kind of has, though.
She's really gotten involved with veteran suicide prevention, I should say. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, I think a lot of times it's become overwhelming. I mean, you have to remember she's at home now with young children.
3 babies, yeah.
Yeah, and but she is a very strong woman, and she contacted me and asked me if it would be okay.
What an honor, Jared. What an honor.
It was absolutely an honor. And I said, absolutely. And in doing that, she, let people know about it. And from there, I've had all kind of contacts of people, and the book's taken off electronically. Matter of fact, I just reduced the electronic copy of the price on the book to 99 cents.
Oh, Jerry, you're so awesome. I know you're doing that just so it gets out, and it's not about the money, huh?
Yeah, the purpose behind the book is not to make money, but really to get it to as many people as we can. And I'm not going to lie to you. When I first put the book together, I thought it was really nice, and it could maybe help a few people. But the responses I have gotten have just been overwhelming. Honestly, I've been losing a little bit on the paperback copies, because what's been happening is, as people have been writing to me or emailing me trying to get a copy of the paperback, they tell me their story along with it. And I'm not going to go into names, but I had a young lady talking about her naval husband that was a weapons officer that was killed, and they just moved to Texas, and she's trying to start her life over with 2 young children, and she really liked the copy, and it's like, I can't charge this person for a book. I mean, she's just, that's the target audience I'm trying to reach.
Right.
Those that the book could possibly help.
Oh, yeah, a lot of widowed wives and husbands, widowers. Wow. So, Jer, what brought you to write this book, and how long did it take?
Honestly, to begin with, I got to stop saying honestly.
No, I want you to be honest. I want you to be honest.
Well, it took me about 3 months to put the book together.
Okay.
But it took me 7 years to write the book.
Wow.
So, and I said 3 months is when I got the idea that it's time to try to put together a series set of poetry. Camel Blues was more of a gift type book. My wife does a lot of craft shows, and she encouraged my daughter and I to put together some poetry. And it's a nice book. I'm not going to say it's not, but it's not. It's more on the gift side. There's none. You will go through Camel Blues and not find darkness.
Okay, you
will find darkness.
Jerry, you need to tell me who endorsed your book and why it makes it so unique and so different than the other poetry that you can find anywhere else, like Barnes & Noble or Amazon. Tell me why your poetry is different.
Well, one of the things I did when I first put the book together is I wanted to make sure that the book would have a positive, not a negative impact. So I went to the head of the Haymont Institute, Miss Stephanie Mason, and I asked her if she would review my manuscript, because, again, I don't want, if there's any poetry in there that would push people the wrong way and not have a positive effect, I didn't want that to happen. Mm-hmm. And I asked her, running the Haymont Institute for Psychological Services, she did that. And she came back, and she made some comments. But when she handed me the manuscript, I was really surprised. She says, I loved this book. It was really good. And
awesome.
I kind of laughed at her. And I said, well, did you expect it to be bad? She said, no, you don't understand. I don't like poetry. I love this book.
Aww.
And so the endorsements on the book really, I do have some literary endorsements that I'm proud of. For example, Joseph Athante, he was the North Carolina Poet Laureate from 2012 to 2014. He gave me an endorsement. Janet Zipper, who's a motivational coach and speaker, gave me an endorsement. But I've also got, from a noted neurologist, Dr. Alan Finkel, gave me an endorsement, because I really wanted them to look at it from the perspective of, can this help?
Right.
And with the people that you are dealing with. and the people that mainly military. But one of the feedbacks that came to me is that, this will not only help military, but it's something that could benefit anybody that's been through trauma. And we forget sometimes, or I should say, I forget sometimes, because I'm so involved with the military. I have been for 30 years with the veterans, that civilians go through a lot of trauma depending on what's going on. You yourself, for example, have been through a lot of trauma,
right,
between cancer and different things that have gone on in your life. And so, as you look at that, I was very proud that they came back and said, work on your forward. Your forward needs to address the fact that although it was written primarily for veterans, it's for anybody that's been through trauma, whether it's physical, emotional, mental.
It's true. It's true. Your poem, "I Have Faith in God and You," that, I mean, I haven't been in combat, or I'm not a veteran, but that hit home with me. I thought that was a beautiful poem. So that's my favorite.
Well, thank you. And and people like you and Jennifer Scott, Stephanie Lembo, and some other friends that I've had are very open to exposing themselves to the public for the purpose of helping.
Absolutely. It's not easy.
And I said, well, you know what? If you guys are brave enough, surely this 30-year veteran can be brave enough to expose himself as well.
Sure.
But on the other side of that coin, I don't think I was prepared for the responses that I've got, and some of the heart-wrenching and touching stories.
I don't believe you were ready, because you used to tell me all the time that you would hope and pray that your writings would help somebody in some way. Like, you hope one day it would affect at least one person. And Jerry, I knew this was going to happen. I knew it would be so many all at once. And I'm just so stoked for you, and I'm so happy that Stephanie is doing I'm so happy that she's using her platform. I'm so happy that you teamed up with Jennifer Scott, and you guys, do whatever you do to help others with suicide prevention. Is there anything you would recommend to our listeners about getting involved with helping someone that they see and feel is in jeopardy of hurting themselves, or, dealing with depression or suicidal thoughts?
Well, I try to attack it more from the earlier stages. Like, for example, I'm working with Tess Haas-Apple, and Tess, I apologize if I mispronounce. I think I got it right this time.
It's okay. I mispronounce names all the time. Go ahead.
We're trying to start a community patriot artist center, because one of the things we found is that art, whether it's literary art or physical art, anything that will focus the mind and help bridge the right brain, which is the right side of your brain, which is the creative side, and the left brain, which is the logic side, and to get those the neural responses to open up and make those connections, the neural pathways is what I was trying to say, stronger, has a very positive effect for people with depression or PTSD, and it can help. I mean, writing has been a godsend to me. It has really helped. I mean, I'll admit to you that I've had suicidal thoughts.
I know.
In the past. I will admit that I have depression, and writing has always been, and I will admit that I have high levels of pain. I suffer from chronic pain from my injuries in Iraq. But with that being said, writing has really helped me to focus my mind and to go through it. Now, as somebody is actually suicidal, I think the best person to talk with, or much more qualified to talk with, is Jennifer Scott, and she just happens to be sitting right here. Why don't you let me pass you off to her for just a few minutes?
Thank you.
Hey, Mary, how are you?
Hi, Jennifer. Okay, everybody, so Jennifer Scott is the producer, and it's actually her true story of Eyes Upon Waking, feature film, and it's a movie based on her true life story about getting rid of the stigmas of suicide and getting help for it. You want to tell us about your movie, Jen?
Yeah, as you mentioned, basically, I started this in 2010. As an actor, they say, write what you know, and I was watching the news around Christmas time. Marie Osmond's son just took his life, and one of the actors from Growing Pains. And I was like saying, hey, if media is now talking about this and celebrities are talking about what's going on, maybe I can write a short to showcase my acting ability. And when I wrote, they said, write what you know. So I said, well, 17 years ago, I tried taking my life. And I started writing this, and then when I started showing it to people, all of a sudden the people I showed it to said, you just wrote my words. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't know you suffered from depression. And I realized that I think we have a feature screenplay with this. So I got together with Annie Golub, and we co-wrote Eyes Upon Waking, again thinking that nobody's really going to care about this. But for me, it was like my own therapy, reliving that, getting everything out there, and just realizing that this story, which started out as my story, became the words for other people. Mm-hmm. So that's how that got started. And in the journey of this, when I started putting it on social media and stuff, I started getting straight, and that's actually how Jerry and I met, putting that out there. And I think through the connection with you, and I met from postings about my story.
Right.
And, I started talking to other people. And one thing that I found that is common in this is a lot of people that suffer from depression, their own fears. Mm-hmm. And my story is 85% true. And the journey after the story that people won't see within the film, my mind, I did everything right. God just didn't want me to die. And so I started challenging myself, and any fear that I had, I started succeeding. I went from like $20,000. I'm in New York City. I'm making $80,000. Mm-hmm. I have my own business. I'm on these shows. And so when I was talking to a lot of these people that reach out to me, and them saying their fears, and I said, hang on a second, or failure, sorry, that's a better word. They're afraid of failure. And I said, you know what? Failure is great. Failure is actually a positive thing. Mm-hmm. The more you fail, the more you succeed. Yep. And realizing that's a common thread and finding people on their fears. And I said, well, so who cares if you fail? Because if you fail, it only gives you a place for movement, is to move forward. Mm-hmm. And that's how everything started escalating with this.
I love that. Wait, I need to stop you for a second. I love that you said, who cares if you fail? It's so true. Do you know how many times I've failed in life? Oh, my God. I stopped counting after 800,000.
Exactly.
I'm not even kidding. I don't even care. It's just my journey. It's life lessons. And
I started putting in history, and I'm like, look at Edison, look at Einstein,
right?
and Lincoln. And
at least we took a chance, right,
Jen? They were crazy. And I would tell people, I said, here's the thing. I said, I grew up thinking there's something wrong with me. Mm-hmm. Why don't I think the same way as everybody else? Why am I not that way?
No.
And I said, people suffering from depression, I said, wait a minute, we're on our own club. Mm-hmm. The people that don't suffer, they're the ones missing out, because we're the creative ones, we're the loving ones, we're the ones thinking, we're the ones that have all these feelings. Look, there's no separation between if you have depression or not. I didn't want to get off in the course on that. My thing is that, a lot of people think about depression. Do they actually, try the act of it? I not only tried once, I tried twice within a week, and I did everything right. All I know is Christ kept me alive. End of story. Mm-hmm. And what I realized is, we've got 30% done on this film right now. We still have 70% left. And I put my own money into this so far, and I'm really proud of everything that we have and showcasing. And, I'm going against the stream of Hollywood making and what you do. And I said, well, wait a minute. At a reading with no celebrities attached, I got distribution. We're not talking about demand online. We're talking about theatrical distribution. Mm-hmm. So that just kept me working stronger. And now it's like, my gosh, my screenplay is a voice. And the reason I want to get that out there on the media is because I want other people that think they're alone, they're not suffering. The great thing now I've done this, I started this in 2010, and we're in 2017 right now. The great thing is, through you and all this, and with Jerry and what he's doing and everybody else, there is such a progression that people don't realize the strength. Or when Jerry and I were talking about me saying, hey, when I read his stage play, I was like, dude, let me get through eyes. I mean, that's something, too, I want to sit there and put out. And then he surprised me when he put out this book of poetry. He's like, you're an inspiration. Like, how? But, seeing this, and it's like, again, you put it out there, it is a relief. A release in so many ways, but it's a communication where so many people, either you've suffered or you know somebody, or you've heard of somebody, and it is out there, and it's not stopping.
Right.
So I want to encourage other, and people are saying, I want to write my story. I'm like, write your story, because depression is not, and PSD and all that stuff, everybody has a different story. There's commonalities, that everybody has, but everybody is different and unique, and it's such a bravery. And I remember when Jerry was talking about when he was doing this book of poetry, and he's saying, like, all this wonderful things happening. I said, welcome to my world, because when I started this, I didn't think anyone's going to care. And I'm like, Jerry, you're now in my world of seeing what is going on, and the people out there that are they're thirsty for this, and to give them encouragement of, hey, I'm not a poet, but hey, write that down, or just put this down. And that's a stepping stone, and that is such a strength that we all have.
Absolutely. I'm so, so proud of you guys. Hey, Jen, before I forget, let me put the National Suicide Prevention Line. The phone number, I know Jerry wanted to announce it, but Jerry, I'm doing it for you. It's 800-273-8255. Again, that's 800-273-8255. They're available 24 hours a day.
Fantastic. There's also, like here in Tucson, there are people that, and I apologize, I don't have the number with me, and looking up, like, everybody that's there for suicide, they will actually drive to your house. They'll come in, no matter, they've got people on staff that will actually come to your house, get on the phone, meet you somewhere.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, we didn't have this out there before, and I apologize, I don't have the card in front of me, but there, I know in every state, when I was talking to this counselor, she's like, oh yeah. She's like, we'll do that. And a lot of people don't realize, they're thinking that they just make a call, and there are places and organizations that will actually say, no, I'm going to come to you, do whatever it takes.
Well, I'm glad you're putting that out there. Thanks.
Yeah, but a lot of these counselors I'm talking to suffer on this as well.
Wow.
On that, and I've asked them, I said, isn't that hard, with that job, and when you go home, and I've talked to people that said, I'm encouraging, but when I go home, it's when I get more depressed, when I'm working, I'm not, and I'm saying, then have your support thing. And one thing that I'm an advocate for is that I have so many strangers that have become friends, just starting this, and I said, we get depressed, but the great thing is, I told my friends, I said, well, I'm going to put you guys around. Like, this month I'll call here or there, or maybe it might be 6 months, maybe it'd be a year. But the point is that I have a support system, or I can call somebody and I can talk to them. And a lot of it is, like, you might start out being sad because of the support system. By the end of the call, you're not ending, the way that you were, and you're actually happy. And that is out there, and people want to help. And people that suffer, actually, their whole thing is they are, because they're so loving and caring, it's weird. I really don't understand that analogy, but that's how it is with depression, that they're like, they want to be there to help you.
Right.
On everything.
Yeah,
and
Jerry.
It's been since I started, yeah.
Jerry Bradley's a really great support system. He's always there.
Oh, amazingly.
Right?
Amazing. Well, this is the first time we've met face-to-face.
Yeah.
We've been, through the phone 2 years now or something?
Mm-hmm.
And, having that, and again, the idea, I'm still blown away that from what I've talked about, encourage him, especially with, the military and everything like that everybody's going through, it's like, it's out there. I mean, my screenplay, we try to cover every end that's on there. I mean, when I was in the facility, there were doctors, there were lawyers that people wouldn't expect to be out there. The thing is, my whole thing with the screenplay is like, I'm not going to change it in this lifetime. We've got a ways to go. But if we can change the stigma, and we can talk about it and make it where there's not a shame factor. It's not like you like, oh, well, I'm at work with my coworkers today and I'm going to sit here and talk about how I was sad last night. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
But if they have a confidant, or they feel like family members they couldn't reach out to, or their friends, And a lot of friends say, oh, my gosh, I didn't even know that you were suffering because we feel we have to keep it in. If I can make it a safe haven, especially through the screenplay with Eyes Upon Waking, that it's like, you know, start talking to your friends because I didn't know I had such a wide support system that I have right now.
I know. This
and it
movie
wasn't until I
has to
talked
get.
about it.
This movie has to get out. I'm serious.
I agree. Like I said, I put about $250K into it. Financiers, we still need it.
You hear that, everybody? Anybody that has had anybody deal with depression and suicide, and you have investors or funds, send them this way. It'll help so many people.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, it does. And everything that I have is, you know, has gone into this film. I mean, my thing is right now, I don't know how to stop.
No, I get it. It's called passion, baby. That's called passion. God will make a
It's
way to
passion,
make
like
this
you
work.
said.
I promise. It's such a huge
absolutely.
message. It's such a huge message. You have Joe Estevez in your movie and Edie McClurg, right?
Edie McClurg and Joe Estevez, and we have some interest from other high-end on that. And again, it comes down to financing, and then these actors, a lot of these actors that make, you know, $1 million are like saying, hey, we get our paycheck, we want to be with this part of it, but until we've got the rest of the financing. So that's, you know, I mean, I just laugh. I just laugh how this business is and what's there. But again, here's the thing. This screenplay is not your Girl Interrupted, your Cuckoo's Nest, things like that. It is telling a story basically when after I tried to take my life a second time, going
in
to
1 week
and going from there.
In 1 week, right?
And in 1 week and sitting here within the week, but there's a lot of oxymorons people don't understand where, you know, when we were filming this, the same ambulance driver, which we didn't know, said, you know, you're the one I found. And I was like, holy crap. And he's like, yeah, we know we take care of people, but we don't know the outcome. I'm trying to educate people on, you know, people trying to take pills and shut down their organs. When I first tried this, they didn't put my stomach in Montreal. The oxymoron is because I tried so soon a week later actually saved my organs because of trying to take it again. I'm not recommending that to other people. I'm sitting here saying that in the screenplay too, it sits here and it educates people on the undertone. But there's conversations. I remember when I first met the psychiatrist I was talking to, I said, have you ever had thought suicide or tried taking your life? She goes, no. And I said, then we have nothing to talk about on that. But the verbiage and stuff, what is there is what every suicide victim that I've spoken to said, God, I wish I could have said that. And I said, well, I did say that, and this is in the screenplay, and this is there, and being that voice. You know, having that lending there. So yeah, it's hard. It's a stressful thing and trying to get it done, but I can't give up because it's no longer my story. It's a voice for so many people that don't have a voice.
That's right. That's right. Just like Jerry's poems they're a voice as well for so many people suffering.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm just so proud in duration of me trying to get this done, how many outsiders were saying, hey, you know, my neighbor, they wouldn't talk to me, and then they heard, because I would put PSAs out there, public service announcements, and saying, wow, my neighbor would never talk to me, all of a sudden talking to me. I said, this is so great. This is so great that now you're a voice, and I'm not just the whole voice, that we're banding together. And it's not just in the United States, it's in other countries that people have reached out to me. Talking about this, and I'm blown away, just definitely blown away by this.
Yeah, I know you've been helping people that have expressed wanting to kill themselves. People reach out to you to get a hold of these people, and I know you've been doing that, and I just want to commend you for that.
I appreciate that. I just had an incident about a week ago. A good friend of mine said, hey, Jen, we got a mutual friend on Facebook. I don't know who this guy is. He's trying to take his life. If anyone can do it, you can do it. And then I had 3 other people, because I got about almost 5,000 people following me, that 3 others have said, Jen, here's a guy trying to take his life on Facebook. He's talking to people. Can you reach out? And, and I did. And I did try. And I said, look, I know this sounds weird. I said, I'm not going to try to talk you out of it. If you're in there, I need to make it a safe haven. Let's talk. Let's get down to what is happening, having that you have a voice. He finally did get back to me. I know he said he didn't have a phone and everything like that. And I'm like, well, here's the thing. Where there's a will, there's a way, on this. Who's around you? I know people in many states. There's still support on that. And I didn't realize how many people who, on Facebook, so many people sit here that you hear the same people, and then these people I have never had a communication with said, Jen, you've got to get in touch with this guy. So it tells me that when I have my ups and downs, where it's like, oh my gosh, is this going to matter? And then people are like, Jen, you've got, if anyone can call them, do that. Look, I'm not the only one out there, but it makes me feel really good because it means that the voice is out there.
Wait, so strangers are asking for your help, Jen?
Strangers are asking me where they saw someone else who is looking to kill themselves, saying, Jen, you need to reach out to this person.
So that means they know what you're about and who you are and what your life theme is, what your purpose is.
Yeah.
Don't sweat the small stuff in your life, Jen. This is what really matters. This is the important shit. Yeah. The rest is evil trying to take you down.
No, and I know that and everything. And it's like, I'm not going to lie. There's trials and tribulations through life, and I'm going through hell right now with something that I'm dealing with. And it's like keeping the strength, but I've got my friends and the support, with that. We're human beings, and we still have all these emotions. And, I also wanted to be safe going, hey, if you suffer from depression, it's okay to be weak. And I'm having a hard time. Even Jerry said, he's like, Jen, you're always a friend for us. How come you're not let me being there for you? And I'm like, but I'm supposed to be there for everybody else. But he made up a great point saying, Jen, you're going through a hard time right now. How come you're not letting me be there? I'm like, you're absolutely right. I should do that. Because I keep thinking I'm supposed to be the rock, but that's not the thing. We're supposed to be everybody's rock. Everybody's rock,
Jen. I know you're always there for so many people. Like, it's okay to ask for help and to ask for people to be there for you. Trust me, I do it on the daily. You need it.
Yeah. Well, Marion, you do so many great things, too. And again, you getting people and us connected and all that. And I really commend what you're doing and moving forward and striding. And I think that it's the more that people hear the strength and the voice, because I was at my lowest, and what I'm going through right now is very hard. But my thing is, if I don't stay strong, then whatever I'm going through right now wins. And I refuse to let that win because I've come too far from that.
Yep. Exactly. Nope. You have too much work to do, too much good work to do. So you're going to have, whatever you're going through now is not the end. You're going to have all this ugliness come at you. Whenever you try to do anything good, it's to be expected. So.
Right. And then what I tell people, too, and what I've gone through for life, I said, you know what, out of heartache, there's got to be a good. You've got to always find something good. I don't know what the good out of what I'm doing on right now, what I'm going through, but, again, having the strength, but it's like there is. When you look back and reflect, it's like something has, but you've got to allow that. And it's okay to allow yourself to be sad. We're human beings and we have all these emotions.
Absolutely.
But, knowing that there's other people out there. And seriously, can I tell you, at least 90% of the people out there that talk about taking their lives really don't want to take their lives. Or if they do, it's usually something minimal over a breakup or drugs or alcohol involved. And there's a lot of self-medication. And that's another thing where I stress medication does not work, with people.
Right.
It's every brain is different. They're never going to, and that's why I talk to people where I know, what was it? 17 years ago, they put me on Paxil. And I remember talking to this guy. I did not want to be medicated when I was in the facility. And when I got out, I was afraid. And I said, okay, put me on this. And so I went to counseling. I remember talking to this guy, and I was on 10 milligrams, and he was on 60. And I said, why are you on 60? He goes, they keep upping it. I said, do you still have thoughts of suicide? He goes, yeah, and after that week, I said, I'm done with meds. I did some research, B6, B12, niacin, and St. John's wort. These are vitamins. I saw this documentary. I said, I'll bite. I'll try this. Because of the pharmaceutical companies, they don't want people to know that these vitamins actually work. And right now, with my friends, really close friends of mine, are on like 5-6 different medications, and they can't even form a sentence and everything.
That's
and
sad.
I'm just like, medication is not the answer.
No.
Now, I can't talk for people with severe bipolar or schizophrenia. That's a different thing. But the thing is, we've got commercials right now. Are you feeling sad? This and that. You should be on it. I remember talking to a patron saying, yeah, I was sad and I thought I should get on these meds. I'm like, why? Because you were sad during that one time. This is what the commercials and everybody has. And everybody, you talk to everybody, 9 out of 10 people are on some sort of meds. I'm like,
well, yeah,
that does not work.
They think that's gonna save their their lives and make them happy, but no, it really doesn't. It just clogs and fogs your mind, and you become addicted, and then you make decisions. You make life decisions while your brain and your body is filled with these chemicals, and it's terrible. Trust me, I know. I mean, I had a bad experience with my medication during my lifetime too. I was overdosed on, by my doctors, and it oh my God, it was a nightmare, but luckily I got off,
Hey, hold on 1 second. I'm going to give you back to Jerry.
Okay. Thanks, Jen, for talking.
You're welcome. I love you.
Love you.
Yeah, we were talking about medications. I wanted to jump in here a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go into a great deal of detail. I did spend a lot of time in the military. I was deployed for TDY about 7 years worth of that time. And to a certain extent, it has a cumulative effect.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that one of the things we just keep, and I'm going to go from the veterans or the military aspect, which I'm sure it can be correlated some way into the civilian aspect as well. But one of the things we seem to get surprised about is the fact that, especially when we're dealing with injuries. Like when I came back from Iraq, I was severely injured. I had neck injuries, back injuries, and I have TBI, traumatic brain injury. And one of the first things we're going to do is, because of the injuries, is we're going to prescribe medications. And all of the medications, if you stop and take a look at it, or most of them, are depressants.
Mm-hmm.
The opioids, the Valiums, the Percocet, the morphine, they're all depressant. And when we look at military, especially if they're coming back from a combat environment, I don't know why, but it seems to surprise us that it has changed them. And kind of my response to that is, well, wouldn't it be scary if it didn't change them? Kind of in my opinion, wouldn't they really kind of have a mental health disorder if it didn't affect them?
Right. Yeah.
So we add these medications, which are all depressants, and we're giving them to somebody that's already depressed because they've been taken away from their units. They've been, they feel like their value has gone down tremendously in a lot of cases, and we give them a bunch of depressants for pain. Not necessarily the psychological drugs, but the pain medications. And then we get surprised when they become more depressed.
Mm-hmm.
And what they say is, well, if you have these side effects, talk to your doctor. And when you talk to the doctor, and I'm not cutting down doctors at all, but their automatic response is, well, you need to go see a psychologist or a psychiatrist. And 9 times out of 10, when you do that, not the psychologist so much as a psychiatrist, the answer is, well, we're going to give you some antidepressants. And I will tell you from my own experience, not all antidepressants are antidepressing.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it goes back to what Jen was saying. Jennifer was saying, was the fact that everybody's brain and body chemistry is different. Kind of what my story is, when I came back from Iraq, because of the injuries I had, I was pretty much a burden. I became a burden upon my family. I was fortunate. I had family support. I had my wife. My children were actually stationed. We are a military family, and I had my children. I was stationed at Pope Air Force Base. My children were stationed at Fort Bragg, which they were conjoined, the Air Force and the Army. So I had a daughter stationed there. I had another daughter whose husband was stationed there, and my son was at Seymour Johnson. So I had family support. But I also looked at the fact that I have become a huge burden. I can't drive. I can't think. With the amount of medications I was taking, I actually had one person tell me to actually tell my wife, don't really expect him to live much more than 5 to 6 years, because with this volume of medication, eventually his body's going to shut down.
Wow.
But if you don't give him the medication, he's going to be in severe pain. Now, I had went so far as to plan out actually when I was going to commit suicide, and I was struggling with that. Well, am I really going to go to hell if I commit suicide? And yeah, is it going to be tough on my family? Absolutely. But would it be better for my family if I committed suicide, because then they won't have this burden weighing on them for, especially my spouse, basically giving up her life to take care of me.
Wow, Jerry.
And I didn't want that.
Yeah.
And I was struggling with that. What really helped for me and was a godsend was I was able to get in on a Botox test program.
Mm-hmm.
And which was many years ago, they started with testing with Botox, doing deep tissue, high volume amounts of Botox, not just, the cosmetic side of Botox, but using it because my muscles in my back and around my shoulder would spasm so hard, they would literally tear. And so I was getting steroids pumped into one arm to help with it. Well, I mean, I'm not telling this story to for sympathy by no means, but they were pumping IV steroids in one arm to help with the muscles being repaired and giving me morphine in the other arm. And it was a wild ride. I would go places and not even remember how to get home.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It had such a huge impact. So, my wife and I would go somewhere, and we're getting back in the car, and I'm kind of looking around, not knowing where she's going to go, which turn she's going to make, because I can't remember how to get home.
Wow, Jerry.
So I guess the point is that I understand what Jennifer's saying about the medications, and that, she's really big. Not everybody has a choice on the medications, because, if you're in the pain, what Botox did for me is it was able to get my pain level down low enough. I'm still taking, believe me, I'm still taking plenty of medications. Jennifer looked at my medication box today and went, wow.
Wow.
But the levels have been decreased significantly. And I'm not having to take these high levels of drugs and medications to keep me out of pain. And it ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
And just like with depression, it ebbs and flows.
Right.
And another thing we're finding is that a lot of traumatic brain injuries, people turn right around and develop severe depression from traumatic brain injuries. And it's so complicated. We're also seeing now, Jennifer mentioned about how a lot of the caretakers, a lot of the, help me out here, like the psychologists and social workers, to a certain extent, they're suffering too, because of the high volume of people that they're dealing with and the sad situations. But we're also finding out with a lot of the military spouses, it's a fairly new term, but it's come out. I'm sure with any new term that comes out, it gets changed 15 times.
Right.
Like PTSD. I don't even know what PTSD is called now. I think they just call it traumatic stress syndrome. But anyway, it's secondary PTSD. And we're finding a lot of the spouses and a lot of the...
I know. It affects the whole family. The whole family.
Yeah. Because the spouses have been walking around on eggshells because of what's been going on with their husband or wife that's active duty in the military for so long, and then under such high stress, and going through this with them, and it drains their lives, and they become depressed, and it's a vicious circle.
It's an ugly ugly circle. Yes, that's. I won't get into it, but that's why Butch Lynch and I co-founded a healing sanctuary for veterans and their whole families, as well as cancer patients and their whole families, so everybody can come to heal as one, because it affects everybody. Everybody.
Well, And we talked about that when we haven't gotten it off the ground yet. We're still working on it just like you are, but back in the Fayetteville area with Tess Apple, working on the Community Patriot Arts Center. Kind of the thought process there is we struggle with a name. What do we call this thing? Because we don't want to say veterans.
Right.
Because we want it to be open to the spouses or those that were with the veterans.
That's a good one. It really is. The name is so important. That's why we did Sanctuary of Courage, so that it invites everybody that is fighting a battle, But I understand your dilemma.
So we're doing good. Hold on, let me hand you back over to Jen.
Okay.
No, I just want to kind of intervene on that, and that's the whole thing. Again, with all this development, and since the time that you and I have known each other and Jerry, there are so many things I'm learning that with military and wives and stuff, and having to go through it, and then they're being diagnosed and stuff. There are so many. It's like the skins on the onion type of thing. That it just keeps evolving, and seeing this. But the great thing is, this is now coming to surface because of people talking, or by you putting on this, this radio station, and having this out there, which I commend. And, anyone who's listening to this right now, we've all been there, meaning the people that are listening, but, we're giving a voice, and giving that voice is just the first step. Again, we've got a long way to go on this.
Yeah.
It's not going to stop. And even with my film, it's like I want to follow up. I want to do a follow-up documentary after this, because all the people I've never met and talked about my film, I want to do a roadshow with my film and, take a documentary and having their reaction to watching my screenplay.
That would be so awesome.
And see what's there.
I love that idea.
Well, but I think it matters having a voice.
Jen,
And
I
it's
watched one of your little episodes. I watched one, and I was bawling hysterical. Oh my God, the kitchen scene, bawling.
Yeah, that's intense. And
I would love
to do. Yeah.
I would love to see people's faces. I would love. Oh my God, you would wow.
Well, and a lot of people, what they don't know is that, as an actor, I'm actually reliving this. So all this filming is, I'm reliving this and playing this. I went out to an audition actors and some named people that wanted to do this, and I said, you know what, there's a lot of the smells and the scents and the feelings and the temperatures and the nonverbal that carries us through. Anyone as an actor can sit here and say, oh, this is a role of a lifetime, I want to play it. And I'm taking a risk, but what I've learned is that kitchen scene is an intricate scene. I don't want to give too much away, but we're going to try to do another fundraiser and showing it. We did that in one take, and it was one of those things where, my DP's like, are you okay? And I said, it's very therapeutic. I'm reliving my life through this film, but I'm getting, and it's almost like beating it through there. But I didn't plan on filming myself. I just planned on producing this, and then I said it's a no-brainer having to do this to show the truth. And what you're seeing, and I'm glad that affected you, because what you're seeing is me reliving that, because when we were filming that, there was no crew around in my mind.
Oh my God.
It was to the T. And everyone, and I appreciate my team. I love them. They're very supportive in making sure that I'm safe in a safe environment when we're filming. But I kept saying to them, saying, hey, you know what? Now I got through it, and let's move on and do this. And the thing is, in my screenplay, there's a lot of happiness. There's a lot of hope. It ends with hope. It's not like all tragic,
right?
Having that. But, and I tell people, not everybody's going to want to film themselves, but writing it down, writing a thought, or going to the poetry, or realizing there's a creative side. You don't have to have a creative side. You just have to talk about it or write about it in a sense, to get it out there, and it helps. And everybody has a different outlet. I'm not saying those are the only ones. There's other ways of doing that, but bringing families together, and again, on the PSAs that I've done with the families and everything, it's a safe haven, but they're more aware, because there's so many people that will tell me stories about so-and-so, I was just with them, they killed themselves, and I had no idea, and if only I could have done this differently. And I said, look, let me tell you something. You know, there's a difference between people having to cry and when somebody actually tries taking their life. And when they succeed, no matter what, because a lot of people, when I was suffering and going through all this, they're like, but you're always happy. And I said, well, I had to be happy because I couldn't talk about it. So I said, the thing is, the more that I had to hold this in and put on a face that I am happy, the worse I got. And now that I'm able to talk about it, the stronger I become through this. And I want to encourage other people, you know, hearing this to get their strength. You know, we're all out there. There's a support. There's a generous support out there. And there's still more strugglers, still more investigating, realization, or, you know, other things, you know, into this and understanding. We still don't understand this, you know. And a lot of people, too, like what Jerry just mentioned earlier, is that people that really don't suffer from depression, if they have an ailing, you know, if they're hurting and they're on certain medications, then they become depressed and it's not running in the family. So then what is going on with pharmaceuticals? And so there's so many areas and levels that we haven't even expanded on.
Right.
Which is scary, but also hopeful. And I keep telling people there's hope. Out of every negative, there's a positive. And if you don't know it, you figure it out. Or you sit here and you if you have to even make something up, you get into that positive thing, and it's happening.
I agree, honey. All right. Well, Jen, I want to thank both you and Jerry for joining me tonight on my radio show. I love you.
And thank you.
I love you both. I respect you both, and I'm so, so proud of both of your work. You both are leaving a beautiful legacy, and I guarantee you are leaving a legacy behind. So.
Well, thank you so much, Mary. I definitely appreciate being on your show. I appreciate the things that you and Jennifer and so many do. You know, I hope that the book will help people. And like I said, it's gotten greater responses than I ever expected. As a matter of fact, I've gotten an order from a psychological center so that they can give it to their interns.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, Jerry,
So
thank you. Thank you for dedicating the book to both Jennifer and I, too. That's really an honor.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. That was nice. Unexpected.
Right?
Yeah, and let me put the plug in. I also mentioned Heather Lee Slaughter and Sherry Wangler, who were both very instrumental in this. Heather helped me send through the hundreds of poems to bring it down to what it was.
Right.
And Sherry gave me encouragement continuously to continue writing. Kind of, you and Jennifer hit me more from the positive effect that it can have on other people, and they hit me more on the side of the writing.
Right.
And Mary, let me just say one more thing, too. And I love Jerry, and God bless him, because the same thing. I'm not making my films to try to make money. I know with investors, yes.
Right.
Can you make money? Yes. But when Jerry's sitting here saying that, like, 99 cents, here's the thing, with postage and everything like that, even if he, sits here and says for $5, so he's covering all his costs. He's not going through a publishing company that's doing that. It has a great effect, and I don't want this guy to be strapped, and I'd love him to say, he's like me, I'll give it to you for free or 99 cents.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, Jerry, charge some shipping, because the thing is, paying on this, but meaning that I'm saying that to him so he can keep getting it, making more copies so it can still get out there. And I hope that the listeners hearing this, it's an amazing book, and everything that he has on there is from the heart. Excuse me, and I just really, I'm a little choked up here. Again, I'm going to stop because I'm being overwhelmed right now. But Mary, your listeners too. This is a godsend, and this woman has brought us together, and everything on there, and we're all moving forward, and I just hope it encourages other people.
Yes, thank you, Jen. I love you.
Well, I love you too, girl. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, Jared, thank you too. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're more than welcome.
Okay.
And keep doing what you do.
I will.
And keep moving forward.
I will. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a great night. Peace out.
You're listening to Armed Radio Global, playing 70s, 80s, 90s hits and the ones you missed. And you can find us in all the usual places. Armed Radio Global.
I had a WhatsApp message from JOEROXX. Hey, Trudy. Since our shows are back-to-back on Armed Radio Global every Thursday, why don't I join you and lie next to you on the couch to see what pops up? Oh, and did I tell you I like English muffins? Well, Joe, I'm not sure if you're being a very naughty boy or if you just think something unexpected might happen and want me to provide breakfast.
Thank you.